Hi there, I'm Chris for Typical Gaming, and if you follow me on Instagram, and if you don't, you really should, link about here somewhere. Recently I asked what you would like to see me paint, any techniques you're not sure of that you'd like me to go over, and I'll do my best to show you. And I've got a few responses there, and one from Caleb Forever asks, I'd like to see how you approach facial details. So, with that being the first one that I got, I'm going to show you how to do them now. This technique can be done using any three paints for whatever skin tone you're going for. Here I'm using Green Stuff World's Blushing Flesh, Elven Flesh and Pale Flesh. I'll be referring to them by dark, mid and light, as these are the three tones that you would use for any flesh tone. First I paint the whole flesh area with the dark tone. Thin the paint down with some water so we don't clog up all the detail with paint. I did about 3 coats of this paint, but it all depends on how thin your paint is for how many you'll need to do to get a solid coat. Mix a little mid-tone with your dark tone. Mine was about 2 to 1 favouring dark tone. Thin it down again and paint the head, leaving an outline of the dark tone where there are recesses, things like wrinkles in the eye sockets, and also where the skin meets other materials like clothing, armour or hair. Again, it'll take a couple of layers to get a good coat, but it'll help us build up a good gradient towards the highlight. Here I'm just finishing off a second coat of the mix and really focusing on the eyebrows, the nose and the cheeks of the model. This will draw focus to the middle of their faces when people look at the model close up. If you've accidentally covered up areas you didn't want to, you can just go back with a dark tone and apply it again like I did here. Mix some more mid-tone into your paint. I was about a 50-50 mix with a dark tone. Here we'll paint the insides of the last layer we did, so it's leaving a little outline of it. On wrinkles, we're just highlighting them, and again on the eyebrows, cheeks and nose. With this model having the mouth open, I also paint the lower lip. On models with closed mouths, I don't do the lower lip in this step, but I do paint the upper lip. Again, I'm just finishing off with the focal point of the face, and on the brow, I'm making sure to leave recesses with the dark tone shown. The angry expression on this model's face has some great detail that I want to preserve. With the previous layer dry, I'm now using pure mid-tone to apply to the highest points of the details. Areas like cheeks, jaw, chin, nose and brow. We're quite sparing with this layer as it's going to act as more of a sort of highlight. The gradient we built up previously has created a really natural effect. On the wrinkles, I basically dot this paint on. Also make sure you get the lip. Again, on a closed mouth model, I'll only paint the top lip, but on this one, I paint the bottom lip. Using pure light tone, dot in the very highest points of the areas we did before. This has given us the extreme highlight, so being very sparing with this one. Again, if you catch anywhere you didn't mean to, you can always knock it back a little with the previous paint once it's dry. Just take your time with this step though. If you think you need another coat of it, go ahead. I once again emphasise the tip of the nose, the eyebrows and the cheeks on my second coat. And with this bald guy at the top of his head too. To paint the eyes, I use black and come in from the sides of the model with a thin brush. You want this paint thinned down so it can flow off the brush easily. This step is easy to mess up, so just take your time. If the paint gets where you don't want it, clean your brush off and try and soak the paint up with it. If you're lucky, a damp brush will clean up any residue. If not, just clean it up with the skin tone you'd used. If your model is an open mouth, we'll paint that black too, including the teeth. Leave that to dry, then using white paint we'll come in from the side of the model again, but try to leave a little outline of the black paint. It can be tricky, so take your time. One of this guy's eyes gave me some trouble, so I had like 3 attempts at it before I was happy. Also, we'll paint the teeth too. Try to avoid getting paint into the back of the mouth. Once the paint is dried, we'll go back to the black paint and we'll dot in the eyes. Again, take your time so as not to make your model cockeyed, unless of course that's how you want them to be. The way I roll in Necromunda, my whole Escher gang should be. But honestly, I am not bitter about it. The teeth look comically white at the moment, so we'll knock them back in colour. For a character like Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead, I'll water down a black wash a bit and I'll apply that. For the Subjugator in Necromunda, dental hygiene isn't a top priority, so I'll water down a sepia wash and apply that to them. I'll practically be using a glaze, so if you need a second coat of it, feel free to add it. Once that's done, you'll have a model with a fully painted face and some great details being shown. Like the video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't, and hit subscribe to easily see my next video. Or don't. Whatever, you're your own person, do what you like.